Hello, booktubers. This is Boomer Bookings, or Rick, as I'm known to my friends. And I don't mean to glut the airways, but I felt like I needed to give an explanation on Straight Arrow. And I feel naked without a hat, so I've put on one of my hats just to cut down on the glare from the pink paint. Now, Straight Arrow, as I told you last time, began as a radio show. Now, the radio show, I wrote all this down because I just had to look it up and see what was what. It was broadcast twice weekly from 1948 to 1951. 292 episodes were manufactured or produced. Now, one of the areas that I checked on this was Tune In Yesterday, old time radio shows from 1925 to 1979. And this book was written by John Dunning, who I will return to in a little bit. But it says, Straight Arrow came to Mutual in '49 as a juvenile adventure show, almost interchangeable with Sky King, Bobby Benson, or any of the other kiddie westerns. Straight Arrow had its gimmick. Its hero, Steve Adams, was a young white man who had been raised among the Comanches. To friends and neighbors alike, Steve Adams appeared to be nothing more than the young owner of the Broken Bow cattle spread. But when danger threatened innocent people, and when evildoers plotted against justice, then Steve Adams, rancher, disappeared, and in his place came a mysterious, stalwart Indian wearing the dress and war paint of a Comanche, riding the great golden Palomino Fury, galloping out of the darkness to take up the cause of law and order. Throughout the West comes the legendary figure of Straight Arrow. And Nabisco, as I told you before, was the company that put it on. At any rate, that's that portion about it being a radio show. And let's see. The comic strip came after that's this. The comic strip came after the show had been on. Came out February of 1950. Published by Magazine Enterprises, and it ran until 1956. It also came out in the newspaper, a daily strip and a Sunday strip. But it only lasted a couple of years. It didn't last that long. The Sunday strip was written by Walter B. Gibson. Those of you who are familiar with The Shadow will recognize that name. He wrote all the Sunday strips. Neither the dailies nor the Sundays lasted more than a year to 2 years. I don't think I need to show you a bunch of pictures from the funny books, but you can collect it if you're interested. I don't know that too many who would be young would be interested in this, because it's not like the comic books of today. These are really mild and not quite as dramatic or as flamboyant as the artists of today. These are just your average funny book. six or seven panels down a page. Color, not the color we have today, but I think they call it the 3-point color method. And these are all taken from the original comic books, so they're faded or taken on different colors. This book, let's see, comes from classiccomicslibrary.biz for anybody who is interested. If you want a catalog of all the comics that they have, you can contact Classic Comics Library, all one word, at yahoo.com, just in case. And I recommend, if you're interested in just hearing what the radio shows sound like, go to YouTube and type in Straight Arrow radio shows. You get a dozen of them. They're kids shows from way back when. It's just simple story, simple moral, things work out. But this book, John Dunning being the author, I thought you would be interested in him a little bit because he wrote mysteries, for those of you who don't know, that were about book collecting. Caused a big craze of book collecting when his first one, Book to Die, came out in 1992. He's passed away now, which is sad. He didn't write enough. But there was Book to Die in 1992, Bookman's Wake, 1995, Bookman's Promise, 2004, The Sign of the Book, 2005, and The Bookwoman's Last Fling in 2006. If any of you like reading about books and the collecting of books, these are fascinating. Another fascinating thing for me, because he moved here in, 1949 in Charleston, South Carolina. I lived here until he was about 19, and then he moved to Denver, Colorado. And he knew practically everything about book collecting, which his knowledge is deeply embedded in his books. And I'm telling you, they're good stories, and they give you good information about book collections. He was also big into old-time radio. So, that's all I really had to say. I felt like it's about time I started talking about these things instead of showing something and saying, this was good. At any rate, I'm sorry I have to read because it's all new to me too. I was just 5 and 6 whenever these things were popular. And I loved them. And I just had that nostalgic feel and wanted to pass it on. Hope you don't mind the hat. I might find a different one because I'm not sure this is the one I want. I have an array of hats around the house, so I'll check into that. But I do prefer wearing this and leaving the glare off the camera here. All right. That was all I had to say. I appreciate you watching. If you've watched, take care of yourselves until the next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.